Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Alrighty, it's been a slow week for news, but then all of a sudden, when it rains, it pours. And the past few days, there's been a lot of developments in terms of news. So one of the things somebody had stumbled upon on one of the various DCS Facebook groups that I frequent mentioned that they saw on Steam that the release date for the DCS Supercarrier is now listed as March 25th, 2020. That's just 2 weeks away. That's kind of the going joke. When's it going to be released? In 2 weeks. So it's kind of funny. But March 25th is the Steam date. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm going to get a hold of somebody over there and just confirm that. But it's looking like Steam has it listed for March 25th. Because I know they did the same thing, I want to say, for the F16, and then it was a different date as well, before the Viper had came out into early access. But they are listing it at March 25th right now, and that is about 2 weeks away. So that would be very cool if that's when it actually gets released, but I don't know for certain yet. In other news, it has been almost a year since Heatblur had unleashed the awesomeness of the F14B upon the world and DCS world in general. And to this day, it is still my absolute favorite module for DCS World over all others. It's still such an iconic aircraft and so much fun to fly in DCS World. And I just wanted to say to the guys at Heatblur, happy birthday, guys. Happy birthday, F14B from Heatblur, because it's been about a year. I want to say like early to mid-March is when they released this a year ago, and it's still in early access. But we've had a lot of major improvements. We've had a lot of stuff added to it over the past year, and I'm pretty happy with where it sits. I'm able to enjoy the hell out of it. So here's to looking forward to the F14A and the rest of the content for the F14 from Heatblur. Happy birthday. In other news, Eagle Dynamics had thrown up their weekly news that they put up. Weekend news. It's F15 month with the Fighter Pilot podcast. I had listened to probably 2/3 of this new episode at work today, actually. I drive sometimes an hour or two in between sites and clients for what I do for a living on my day job, and gives me time to listen to the Fighter Pilot podcast, and it's a fantastic podcast in general. But the F15 episode, I mean, this is something they've been, actually everybody has been asking for forever, and Jello and company over there have kicked ass again, and it's all month, I believe. So I guess part one is what's up right now. Part 2 is going to happen soon. I think part 3 might be doing like the Strike Eagle, but from what I understand, part 1 covers like F15A through D, and then E will be covered all by itself later on. But fantastic episode. And the cool part is, if you don't have the F15C or the SU27 flanker for DCS World, you can fly them both for free this weekend on Steam and on the standalone version of DCS. That's pretty cool. I know they're Flaming Cliffs 3 modules, and people will cry, bitch, and complain because you can't click everything in the cockpit, but they are still two of the most awesome modules you can get for DCS, and people do still use them quite frequently online in PvP battles. So give it a shot, guys. They're very cool planes, and you can have a lot of fun with them. The sale that they're currently having is still going. It's going to end this weekend, so I'm guessing Monday morning it'll be over. All helicopters for $70. That's all 4 helicopters that they have in DCS World: the Gazelle, the Huey, the MI8, and the Black Shark 2. All 4 for $70. That's a steal if you don't have any helicopters. Not so much of a deal if you already have one or two of those helicopters. DCS Black Shark 2 plus combined arms is still on sale for $49.99. Black Shark 2 plus the Mi-8 is $54.99. Fantastic deals, though, and all of them are fantastic helicopters. 3D scanning development report. This does nothing for me, but I'm just mentioning it. I can care less about the hands and the bodies of the models in the cockpit of the planes. You could never put a model in the cockpit and I would be happy. You know, I have no problem with just having an empty cockpit. I want to fly it. I don't want to see something that doesn't look like me in the cockpit, you know. And in addition to that, the open beta was released the other day, the update, and we are up to 2.5.6.44266. So we are into the the third version of 2.5.6 at this point. I'm not going to sit here and read these all off to you. I will include them in the notes, but this is the open beta update. Let's see, some of the notable things. Razbam did some stuff to the AV8. They had fixed a memory leak from the Stennis on multiplayer dedicated servers. Mirage training missions. This is big. Training missions for the Caucus and the NTTR updates to reflect the changes to the module. This is a big one because they had changed in the cockpit what you do to set up and manipulate some of the weapon systems. So if you were to go to the old manual or the old Grim Reaper videos or whoever did them, you know, at the time, I'm sure there's more than just Grim Reaper tutorials out there, but you would be confused because they changed the sequence that you have to do and how you go about, you know, shooting the missiles or dropping the bombs and whatnot. And it's nice to see that. I guarantee these are Baltic Dragon missions because he does everything for Razbam and he's fantastic. It's nice to see that these training missions have been updated, and I look forward to looking into them. DCS JF17 by Deca Ironworks. I don't have this module, so I don't pay much attention to what they're doing to it, but there's a lot of stuff from the look of things. Black Shark 2 looks like they've tweaked some of the stuff in the Georgian Oil War, tuned the auto start script, auto man switch animation fixed, weapon panel lamps color fixed. Connector of the laser standby switch will be linked with this switch. No need to click the void space, whatever that is. This is something else I look forward to too. So DCS F16C Viper, I had posted a video earlier in the week of doing some cool air-to-ground stuff in that, and they've added a training mission covering CCRP bombing in CBUs. I'm going to check that out for sure. UFC training mission. What? You can be a UFC fighter? What's that all about? Updated TACAN DED page information and early access guide. For the Hornet, they've updated the flight manual CN. What is CN? I always thought that was like Canadian or something. I don't know. AIM 120 rapid fire crash. There must have been a crash whenever you rapid fire AIM 120s. I never noticed that, and I've rapid fired them before. Let's see. A10 Warthog, they fixed some waypoints. Vigan, a nice little variety of odds and ends it looks like they fixed there. C101 Aviojet. This looks like an interesting plane. I might get this one of these days. Campaigns, and this is what I was going to get to in a separate thing. So if you go over to Reflected Simulations Facebook page, they mentioned that the March 4th open beta update contained many fixes for his World War II campaigns, and it made all of them fully compatible with 2.5.6 now. Awesome. So no more spawn issues or collisions, I hope. If you experience something strange, please let me know, and I'll jump on it right away. On top of the fixes, all my campaigns got updated P-51 Mustang skins. That's pretty awesome. And then if you go back to the open beta, you'll see that the 3 campaigns he modified was the BF-109, the Blue-Nosed Bastards of Bodney campaign for the P-51D, and the Spitfire IX Big Show campaign. Pretty cool stuff. And this is also the same guy, actually, that is doing the Tomcat campaign that I had reported on about a week ago. But on March 2nd, he also notes that more Saber updates. He tweaked the Hunters of Yalu campaign skins a bit more. After I learned the center section of the Saber's wings was not bare metal, but painted and polished, like on the P-51 Mustang, I updated my skins accordingly, and he submitted them to Ed. So it didn't make it into this week's, but it looks like whatever is going on in the Hunters over Yalu campaign with the skins, he's already addressed it, and they have been submitted to Eagle Dynamics to be included. It just didn't make this week's update, clearly. And again, this is the same guy doing the cool F14 Tomcat campaign that uses the voice of Jester, the guy that did Jester for Heatblur. So looking forward to that. The Dev Blog over at the IL2 guys page. I'll tell you what, man, I've been digging deep into IL2 over the past probably few weeks now, and I pretty much got my hands on everything that they own, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Things are just so much more fun now, and in VR, it's so much more forgiving than DCS. So it's a pretty big dev blog. I'm not going to sit here and try to read it all to you, but on the 6th, which is today, the lead programmer? Yeah, Andrei Petrovich Solomkin is the lead engineer on the new Battle of Normandy, I believe, campaign or product. I don't know what you would call the different versions. I just call them products, I guess, because it's basically just an add-on that includes planes and a new setting and whatnot, and you just plug it into the Great Battles scenario. And he goes on to talk about how they're tweaking the damage model and some of the things that they're doing. Like, for example, armor-piercing bullets and shells make relatively small external damages on the skin. They do not cause large-scale damage to the structure frame anymore, but they do hit like a point strike, hitting through a wing spar, for example, or breaking a hinge of the elevator or aileron. A broken spar, of course, loses its strength. This makes the wing weaker and leads to break it under fewer G-load. So interesting that they're really pushing what is already, I think, a really awesome damage model. Because that's the one thing I've noticed in IL2, and like DCS is working on it. They're trying to catch up to these guys, but these guys are way ahead of the game when it comes to the damage model. And don't get me wrong, I've seen some dumb shit too. I've been in there and I'm shooting stuff and it's just not dying, and then somebody comes and shoots me and I fall out of the sky. So it's not perfect, but I do see the gradual damage when I'm shooting things. And one of the other things he throws in here as a a bonus is, hey, here's one of the first aircraft we're going to include in the Battle of Normandy, and that's the P-47D-22 Razorback. And it looks beautiful, as one might expect. Now, these are the early images of it, but I like the P-40 as it is. I always thought it was an interesting plane, but the P-47, that's something else altogether, man. It really is. And it's so iconic. And I had talked to these guys directly earlier in the week, and one of my questions was, when is the Battle of Normandy coming out? And they said it's not going to be complete for about a year, but they're going to start rolling out their early access program somewhere along the lines of the summer. So there's an interesting tip that I don't think anybody else has thrown out there yet, but they were kind enough to pass that along to me the other day when I was talking to them about some stuff. That's pretty cool. In addition, the stuff from the various existing campaigns for IL2 Great Battles are still on sale. So the Battle of Bodenplatte is $37.49 for standard or $59.99 for premium. I would highly recommend premium, and it's because it has the P-38J collector's plane. I did a video that I threw up there today, I believe, that covered the P-38J-25 in pretty good detail, and it was kind of my first impressions of the P-38J in the Battle of Bodenplatte over the Rhineland. and it's fantastic. I think it's my favorite plane right now in all of the IL2 planes. It really is that much fun. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely worth the price of admission. Battle of Kuban, 1249 and 1999. I had picked this one up last week for the 1999 version because I wanted the Spitfire, and I also threw a video up of that, I believe, midweek last week, I think it was. Super fun stuff, fantastic plane. Battle of Moscow, another one I'd picked up recently during this sale, and I've been picking up the premium editions because at 20 bucks a pop, I thought that was kind of worth it. Such a good deal when they have these sales like this. Or you can just get the standard version for 12 bucks. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong with any one of these when they're at these prices like this. And then Battle of Stalingrad is $12.49 and $19.99. And I think the only weird thing is I think if you have the Steam version, you have to have Battle of Stalingrad first to buy the other ones to add in later. I don't know that it works that way for the standalone. I'm on the standalone version, so that's what I've been rolling with, and I picked up Battle of Stalingrad first because it was the first one, you know. In addition, Flying Circus is half off right now. It's $39.99 instead of $79.99. And I also got my hands on this as well, and I just threw together a video that I'm in the process of finishing up. And what I'm seeing is pretty cool, especially if you like the World War I era stuff. It totally reminds me of Rise of Flight, and oh, by the way, it's the same guys that did Rise of Flight, so that's kind of cool. I used to love Red Baron 3D, and a lot of the, what was the one from the 90s? It was called Dawn something. Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue too. But that was another good one for the DOS days. Yeah, I want to say it was like Dawn Patrol or something. And it was by like a British developer. But anyway, long story short, Flying Circus Volume 1 at half off is pretty cool. It's been a pretty good week for news, and I really hope that what we were seeing about Supercarrier is correct, because that would be exciting that it would be released in a couple weeks. I can't wait to see like the Tomcat and the F-18. You know, to take off and land from a more dynamic carrier with a lot going on. Sounds like super fun stuff. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to hit that like button. And until next time.